last night I had a dream, and it identifies with the way God identifies with me. So you're going to get a little bit of a lesson this morning on surfing. Anybody interested in that? Good. So there was usually when you go surfing, basically what happens, you scout out the ocean and see what waves are there. And usually when they're not good waves, when it's kind of like all blown over, nobody wants to go in. And I was sensing, in my dream, I'm at a place and there's people in the water, and you kind of feel snobby when it's kind of like bad. You don't even want to go in until there's some nice breakers. And the whole time there was anything good. And in the end, I went in, tried to okay, I'll catch something. And if you know surfers, they don't really like that. But in the end, before I don't surf, I'd rather surf nothing than just stay outside. And I got this morning and I thought, that's interesting. And I just let it go. And I kind of think, okay, I know what the basics of this, what God wants to say, but I didn't quite identify it all. And so I just let it rest there. And then this morning, the Lord just spoke to me. And I just want to bring it up a little bit because I sense that there's something that we as a church, but also individually, we can learn. Number one is this is like what we call chop. And this is what we really look for when you surf, because you want to surf the waves. And somehow this is what all I had, and it kind of looked like nobody wants to surf that. Although if you haven't surfed, you think that's great, but when you're a surfer, you don't. You think this is really not something I want to be a part of. And the Lord spoke to me. He says, you know what? I'm starting to make waves. And what you're doing is you're not actually enjoying and actually not seeing. You don't want to get in on what I'm doing because it's not great yet, according to what you think is great. And I want you to understand that I need you to get in the water now. And I need you to actually see every single wave that I make that is of me. And I want you to paddle. And if you don't know about surfing, you can't really surf if you don't have our strong arms. Because you're laying on a board and you're paddling all the time. And you have to fight white water. White water is when the wave has crashed and you have to duck through it. And it usually takes you about 20, 30 feet. Every time a wave comes, if you're not good at it, you're going to take you back and you can never actually surf. And part of that process is as you go in and you get strong in your upper body and you start paddling, you get stronger and stronger, and then you're able to actually take on bigger waves. And so the Lord said to me, you have to get in. And that was, I'm not usually the kind of guy who, I never kind of poo-pooed any waves. I almost, whenever there's water and there's surfboard, I'm on it, But I sense that the Lord is saying, you know what, I need you to not just look for the big waves. And one of the things that the Lord said to me, you're only looking for this, but you're not actually owning this. And that's what he said to me. It's not about, if you can identify with it, that's good. But I'm looking for this. But God says, I'm doing this too. So I need you to start surfing this. Because what's coming is going to be this. What's coming is going to be this, and you're not going to be ready for this if you're not actually practicing in the other parts. So this is what I like. Now this is really what I like. Okay? So this is like, and God says, I'm going to come. I'm going to bring about some amazing things, but you need to start validating and actually not dismissing the small beginnings. Not dismissing the little things that you go, oh, that's all. No, I need you to really own every single wave that I make. And basically, it's going to look like that at the end. Yeah. I'm going to go pack right now. This is the Peru Chicama, which is, I surfed there years ago. It's the longest wave of the world, but it's like corduroy. You see them all come in. And the Lord said, you know what, this is what I'm doing. I'm preparing my church. I'm preparing my church for the time when every single wave that I go has been ridden because they're strong enough to ride on it. And I feel that that's what God is speaking today to us. And I know we're in the season maybe where a lot of choppy waters are, and none of us like it. But we're all getting stronger. We're all getting to a place where we're getting stronger, and we cannot afford not to get in the water. We cannot afford to say, you know what, I'm not going to get into it because this is just messy. It's really not fun. But God says, I need you to get in to get strong. I need you to get in to get a feel for it. I need you to get in to actually look, see, and kind of get the feeling of what I'm doing. And practice. Because as you practice, you're going to get better. So that's first word this morning, the Lord.